Good afternoon. Welcome on in today's episode of From Day One. We head to court for some fun.
Okay, Miss Anderson, you gotta press join.
Okay, now we're starting for reals. I'm guessing that's Detroit versus the world, although I can't read it.
Miss Anderson, you gotta press join for the breakout room. All right, here we go. All right, here we go.
I can't remember this judge's name, but he's a magistrate or whatever. I've had him on a couple of times. He's funny.
All right, state your name for the record, sir.
And you have Joseph Jackson.
Okay, calling case number 230-595-8301. People State of Michigan versus Joseph Jermaine Jackson. Appearances, please.
Thanks, Judge. Good afternoon. Steve Vincent for the people, P71917. And Your Honor, Austin Gregory, PA5193 on behalf of Jackson.
All right, the court will enter not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Jackson. Mr. Vincent, argument as to bond, please.
Thank you, Judge. The way that I read this really is a true lover's quarrel. And Your Honor, with all due respect,
This really is a true lover's quarrel. That might go on the thumbnail, which I haven't done yet.
everyone expresses love in different ways, and this indeed is one of those ways.
I'm sorry. Everyone expresses love in different ways. After you hear this, that phrase will make you laugh.
I can only assume in this particular matter, what we have in the allegations, Your Honor, is only, I believe, what's half of what ended up transpiring here. As
You mean there's more?
There is more, Judge. This was the end result of what had previously happened prior to this. As Your Honor could see, in the latter stages of this love quarrel, based on some type of sexual toy that allegedly the defendant ended up buying complainant, which complainant
Love quarrel, snuggle struggle. It's serious. It is quite serious, but still, the judge is having a hard time holding it together.
subsequently used, which made defendant, for whatever reason, upset because he ended up purchasing it for her. He ends up getting mad. He ends up assaulting the individual. I believe in the allegations, Judge, what we have is some type of throwing down on the bed, which I don't know whether or not that was part of the love quarrel, but we have throwing down of the bed and possible some type of.
We have a throwing down on the bed. I don't know if it's part of the love quarrel. It's really the attorney that's funny here.
Smothering. I don't know whether or not that's part of the love quarrel as well, Judge. But on top of that, we have what happened prior to this, which allegedly in a car, there was some type of injury that was sustained by the complainant, by the defendant, where there was, I'm sorry, Judge, there were injuries sustained vice versa, where in this part of the allegations, the complainant sustained the injuries in the car ride allegedly prior to getting to the house. The defendant sustained the injuries. Again, I don't know if that's part of the love quarrel, but there were bite marks on the defendant's body. There was bruising as well.
Judge, I don't know where the love quarrel ends and the crime begins here. That's all I'm trying to say as the defense attorney.
Allegedly that the complainant ended up doing to the defendant. Now, the interesting part, well, there are a lot of interesting parts to this, Judge, but one of the interesting or fascinating parts of this is the police had a hard time trying to decipher who in fact was going to get charged with this, because they both ended up having injuries on their body. Well, it just so happened after they ended up calling allegedly a supervisor in to try to figure this whole thing out, that the defendant's story did not add up as much as what the complainant's story added up to. Therefore, this defendant was arrested and he was charged with, I believe.
Oh, yes. The judge is later reduced to asking, basically, is this a good time gone too far?
Judge, it was a GBH as well as
Yes, it's domestic violence.
domestic violence. But I'd like to note, and I ended up giving defense counsel the EMS run report. They both sustained injury.
Yeah.
In the allegations, it appears as though because of the sex toy that was used and that the actions by the defendant in the latter part of this thing, that this was just solely on the defendant. The people reading into this more feel as though the complainant may have played a part. She may have even liked playing a part in this whole thing, Judge. But when it's all said and done, we have a defendant here. We have a complainant making the allegations. I'm not going to be pursuing a cash bond in this, Judge. I just don't think that based on everything that I see, not just the allegations, but as well as other reports that I've been privy to, that a cash bond is deserved. No contact? Absolutely, Judge. I don't know if a no contact is going to keep these lovers away from each other. But with that being said, Judge, I would be respectfully asking for a no contact.
Mr. Vincent, I've just got one question. Or I could be just reading something into this. Is it fair to say that to a certain extent, given the bruises and whatever on both parties, that this was consensual, that went too far?
Well, that's all a matter of interpretation. The bruises and everything else may have been something that they intended on doing to one another, Judge. I mean, we look at this from a legal perspective, bruising as well as scratches. And yes, we could say it goes too far, but looking at everything, seeing as, you know, this is something that, you know, between two people that allegedly love each other, and it's hard to decipher whether or not that was intended or that was intended for good or for bad.
Okay. Mr. Gregory?
Your Honor, no objection to a personal bond. I would ask that he be able to return to the address, to the home. It's been his representation that the complaining witness moved out. He has custody of his son, and he understands the no contact order. But he's just asking that and he's willing to abide by that. He's asking to be able to return home with these set of facts.
Is there anything you can corroborate that, Mr. Vincent, in terms of the whereabouts of the complaining witness?
No, Judge, at least not at this time. And Your Honor, respectfully, the no contact for me, if she wasn't living at the house, then I would be perfectly fine with going to the house. But if she is living, it's the reason why I'm not asking for the tether, the no contact.
Yeah, I don't see a need for a tether either.
Yeah.
The issue is returning back to the home. I will allow him to return back to home so long as she's not there.
Wonderful, Your Honor. If she is there, I would ask for a one-time police escort as well.
If she is there? I thought you said she wasn't there.
I said if she is there. So I don't believe that she is there. But
She's got keys? Okay. No.
Okay.
But Judge, and I was going to go so far as just no assaultive contact.
No.
And we all try to interpret what assault is.
No, not in this case.
Correct.
Do they have any children in common? Anyone?
I don't have that information. I just have them as boyfriend, girlfriend.
I'm unaware, Your Honor, but I do know that my client does have children.
Okay. Are you employed, Mr. Jackson?
Sir.
No, sir? If the complaining witness is at the Chandler Park address, you have another place to stay, sir?
Sir.
I said, if she's at that Chandler Park address, you have another place to stay?
Yes.
You do? Okay. All right. Mr. Jackson, the court will give you impose a $5,000 personal bond with the following conditions. You not to have any contact with the complaining witness, Nancy Adu. I believe that's how you properly pronounce that. You're not to enter the Chandler Park location if the victim is present. If she is present, you may go to the address once, accompanied by an officer to remove personal belongings.
Judge,
Yes.
one other thing, just for the record, both individuals refused EMS. And I don't believe that the sex toys were used feloniously in any way, so that's why we didn't ask for anything regarding.
Just out of curiosity, was the sex toy recovered?
You know what, it was mentioned. I think it was something that was emphasized in this, but no, and quite honestly, I don't even know how you handle that, Judge.